Hey everyone, Sheree here. Today I'm going to be creating an A5 notebook spread inside my Felicity Jane A5 notebook. You can find these in the Felicity Jane shop. They come in a variety of covers, different colours and patterns. I'm using the window pane one, and I'll just have a quick flick through what I've got in here so far. I've been creating one spread each month so far this year, and I'm just recording things about me, things that I like and things that I'm enjoying, or anything that I want to remember. So I've done up until April, so I'll be creating my spread for May in this section here. I like to create my pages outside the notebook and then stick them in, because that will just allow me to use my sewing machine and my stapler, things like that. So I'll put this aside for now. I've got my full-size photo here already printed out, and it's roughly just under 5.5 inches wide by 8.25 inches tall. I may need to trim it down a little bit to fit it inside my notebook when I go to do that, but we'll wait and see. I do have my white cardstock cut out to roughly the same size for my second page, and I've chosen the beautiful plaid paper from the June kit to use as accents on my spread. So what I've done is I've cut a 1-inch wide strip and cut it into 2 pieces, and I'm planning on putting a strip across the bottom of each of those pages. So most of the things that I've got here are from the June kit for this spread. I've got the June puffy shapes, absolutely love these, and I'm thinking of using these cute little flowers on this spread today, so I've got those there. I do have some of the die cut shapes from the die cut pack, and I've got a couple of stamp sets here. One is the June stamp set and the other one is the Mari stamp set, and I've also got the June designer tag set. Now I'm thinking of using this one here. It's like a ticket shape. I'm going to tip it on its side there, and I'm thinking that's where I'm going to put my journaling. I've printed out my journaling already. What I did was printed it on normal printer paper first, then I've added my cardstock over the top and ran it through my printer again. So now I've got that ready to cut out and use. For my title today, I'm going to use the Julia puffy alphabet stickers. I love the colour. Goes really well with that plaid paper, and I'm thinking of using the word days from the June stamp set as part of my title as well. I've also got the explore word here that I'm thinking of using from that stamp set, and there's a couple of phrases out of that Mari one that I want to use too. So I think I'm ready to make a start here, so I will pop you on fast forward and show you how I'm going to put this one together. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to add those 2 strips across the bottom of each of my pages. So I've just got a bit of double-sided tape behind each of those, lining those up as best I can, and then I'm just going to trim off the excess from both of those with my scissors. Just going to do this other one. Okay. So I am going to add some stitching to that, but before I grab my sewing machine, I'm going to add the journaling to the center of that ticket shaped tag. So that's done. I'm going to grab my sewing machine and add stitching to each of those pieces. So the stitching is now done. I'm going to put that aside and do a little bit of stamping. So I've got the Mari stamp set that I'm going to use 2 phrases from. This one here says love this, so I'm going to stamp these 2 phrases onto cardstock and cut them out to use on my spread. This next phrase says everyday moments. I'm just lining that up on my block. I'll stamp that onto the cardstock as well. Okay, so that is done. I'm now going to grab my scissors and cut those out. And then I'm going to do a little stamping directly onto the page. So I've got my second page here where my journaling is going to go, and I'm just placing things onto the page to work out my spacing, and I want to add that explore word down the bottom. So I'm just making sure I've got the spacing right, and now I'm going to stamp that word directly onto the page. I will do a test stamp first onto some white cardstock. I love this VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. It stamps so beautifully. Alright, so that looks great first go. I'm really happy about that. I also have the word days, which is going to be the second word in my title. So I've stamped a little test stamp onto that cardstock, and you'll see a bit later I do end up using that on the page. I'm trying out just stamping it directly onto the page first, and it does stamp perfectly, but in the end I do decide I want that extra layer, so I will end up cutting out that day's word and adhering it onto the page so that I can add some stitching to it, and that just adds some more texture. But first I'm adding that Everyday Moments stamped piece to the page and my journaling, just adding some double-sided tape to the back of that, and then I can adhere that one into place. I do decide to also add one of these mustard mini wide paper clips to the side just to add a touch more yellow. So that's going on there now, and I will grab that other word, the market word for my title, and this is where I've decided that I'm going to add that extra layer by adhering that over the top. And now I'm going to grab my sewing machine and stitch across that one and across the Everyday Moments phrase as well. So that's done. I'm now using my tweezers to add my letter stickers to the page, so that is now all done with my title. I'm just using some Stays-On ink to stamp the date onto my little label there, and that's going to go at the bottom of the page. So I do need to add a bit of double-sided tape on the back of that, just being careful not to smudge my ink, and then that can go down the bottom there. So I do need to add a couple of embellishments to the page, and I found this green chipboard heart from the Mari kit, and I love that it's just bringing that green across from the grass in my photo. So really happy to have this touch of green on this side of the spread. I'm adding that to the bottom corner of that journaling with a little puffy white flower, and I'm just going to add a little leaf under there as well. They are so cute, those flowers. I'm also going to add one at the very top of the page, and I'll add two little leaves to the side of that one. And that is the second page complete. So I'm now going to go back to my large photo, and I'm going to add 3 more of those cute little puffy flowers around the page. So just adding that little flower and a leaf beside each one. So I want 3 there. All up, I do still have an odd number of flowers, which is great because, as we know, odd numbers work well on a page. I do have the Love This phrase that I'm going to add to the top there, just above the basket. I'm trying to center that as best I can, and I'm going to actually stitch across that with my sewing machine, and then I'll add one more thing to the very top of that. I'll add a little yellow die cut heart, and I did add a little 3D dot under that just to add a little bit of dimension. So I'll give you a closer look at these 2 pages. You can see there those little puffy flower stickers, love those. I love that plaid paper across the bottom. And here's the second page. You can see the journaling there, that heart with the flower and the stamped pieces at the bottom. And now I can go ahead and add those into my A5 notebook, and that's another spread complete. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I put this one together today. I will leave a link down below to Felicity Jane if you're interested in grabbing any of these beautiful things for yourself to use on your next project. Let me know if you've got any questions, and I look forward to bringing you a project very soon. Thank you so much for joining me today. Enjoy the rest of your day.